Welcome to Tailor Made Chaos. On this podcast, we'll bring you some of the highest flyers and most interesting people in and around the fitness industry. We'll talk and laugh with CEOs, franchisee groups, exercise specialists, and to those who work in sales and marketing, and will share their insights and knowledge of all things related to the business of fitness. Love what you hear? Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date. On with today's show, proudly brought to you in conjunction with Fit Into Shape, a small but dedicated team of fitness industry professionals, delivering on all of your fitness equipment and gym design needs.
Welcome to another episode of Tailor Made Chaos. I'm your host, Glen, and today I have the privilege to be joined by none other than Cam Prosser. Now, Cam, for those who haven't sold a business, tell me, how would people know you and what do you do?
Oh, geez, how do people know me? So start off with Cameron Prosser, born in Melbourne, born and bred, but have travelled in my short 40 years in life thus far through the eastern states. And I'm a business broker, director of and owner of business and franchise brokers who specialises in the sale of small to medium businesses. And through over a decade, we've established a niche within the health and fitness sector.
Cool. So obviously you get exposed to a lot of valuable IP. You get to know people inside out and their businesses. I won't give away any trade secrets here, but obviously an interesting choice of career. As always, I like to get back to people's stories. So, mate, you said you were born in Melbourne. Well, what type of a kid were you?
One of those ones that doesn't sit still, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've got an older brother and a younger sister. Mum used to always say when she was in a room with Scott, my older brother, it'd be very quickly known if I came into the room because I'd be jumping off the walls and knocking something over or spilling something. So certainly an active kid, which probably led me down the athlete path, which was another part of me. And then certainly probably a little less on the books is what I'd like to admit. But active and just high energy.
So look, you did touch on the athlete career, and I know you say you don't want to be known as a swimmer, but it's an important part of your history. How did you come up? What made you decide that swimming was something that you were going to get into?
Yeah, good question. I always first sort of think back to the 1500 race of Kieran Perkins.
Iconic moment, right?
Iconic moment. It was a race that I can still remember watching. Prior to that, my brother, again, I've touched on, was a swimmer. Dad was always supportive of us doing the nippers down on the surf coast.
He had to swim past the bloody water. Was cold.
I had a near drowning incident which kept me out of the water for over a year because I was too scared to go in the water. So, all of a sudden, that water space became a way to put my energy into. And over time, I was certainly a late bloomer, became relatively good, and then had some amazing people around me to foster the talent I had and take me through the stages. So initially it was just following the older brother, trying to keep up with him. Then it was just trying to keep up with the squad members, and then passion to try to swim for the country, which I was fortunate to achieve.
So, mate, swimming, was it because of the older brother, do you think, or was it footy in Melbourne? What took you into the pool as opposed to some other sports?
Yeah, look, I think certainly the beach and the love of water was a big factor. But I was also playing AFL. I was fortunate to play 100 games for my club and love that team environment. Swimming can be individual, although we get to race in relays, and that was where I got my biggest accomplishment. But I think the swimming, it got to a stage where I made some national finals and medalled, and the head coach at the time tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Cameron, I appreciate that you love your AFL, and from things. It seems like that's something that you may want to pursue, but if you don't and you would like to go swimming professionally, we'll send you off to New York and Brazil to race for your country. And a 17, 16-year-old, like that's pretty. So put my hand up to dive in, pardon the pun, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So I guess you're a type of person, when you dedicate to something, you give it your all, right?
You've got to, yeah, I think so. So that was something I did, and I still think back, or if I'd stayed with AFL and where that could have led me. But geez, I'm happy with what I was able to achieve through the swim.
Yeah, I mean, whilst they weren't staggering accomplishments in terms of, being a household name and everything. I mean, the reality was you swam at the highest level for your country and won medals at some of the highest level of events. It's a staggering accomplishment that very few people understand. So, who would you say were your inspirations from that period of time? You said, that race from Kieran Perkins kind of got you there. But, who in that team environment was someone that helped shape your, current you?
Yeah, well, I don't want to build their ego up anymore, but there's this bloke called Michael Klim who I look at as reaching the pinnacle of our sport, which was in 2000. He led off the 4x100 freestyle relay and broke the 100 freestyle individual world record. So, home Olympics, blue ribbon event for your team and country, ticked. But more
and a good bloke.
Yeah, exactly right.
Let's add to that.
But more than that, exactly right. A guy that I now call a friend, and certainly inspirational. I also, wasn't always at the top. So I think, again, having some of these guys of my age that I was chasing and were doing amazing things on the world stage. So, I will call out Eamon Sullivan. So he and I finished first and second in the 100 freestyle as juniors, and he was certainly somebody I was chasing down, and he was doing it on the world stage. So really good to have him in the country to try to chase as well and aspire to try to beat. Yeah.
Now, mate, you said earlier on you weren't that academic, but I note that you do have a degree in commerce. So when did that come? Was this during swimming? Was it post swimming? Tell me, how did you decide that was the path for you, and when did that happen?
Yeah, no, good. The change happened when I really got some good people around me that made it clear that swimming and any athletic career is for a short window of life. You can do your shoulder, you can be hit by a car, anything can stop you physically being able to perform, and it also takes a lot of stress off you if you are. You got other strings to your bow that you can fall into after being an athlete. I saw education as a real strength that I could leverage off my position as an Australian swimmer and get into the university that also then provided assistance through being away on camps, and we'd go up to this place called Sierra Nevada in south of Spain for a month for altitude training, and there was that understanding from the university that that's my career as such, and there was support around that. So I suppose when I left school, I had an opportunity to go to Monash University that had a swimming program at the time, or take a scholarship at the Australian Institute of Sport, which is the decision I made to move to Canberra. They just finished the best pool in the world, and as a training facility, second to none. So with that, I got into applied economics commerce, a double degree, but doing part-time university for a period of time. After many years, I tapped out with just commerce to move on to actually a career. So
yeah, Matt, I think we've talked a little bit about your career, but one thing that I've sort of taken from one of the more famous marketing people is Gary Vaynerchuk, and one of the things he likes to often reference is the link between, business and sport, how the two have similarities. Would you sort of talk to me about how you think what you did in swimming relates to now your ongoing business success?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of transferables, that's for sure. you touched on it before, where there's a commitment and a determination to achieve a goal or a certain level, easy to see. But it's probably more the subtle things, resilience. Race that I specialised in was 50 freestyle. The difference between me being a multiple Olympian sitting here talking to you and not being Olympian at all was less than half a second. There's years worth of training to put on the table for that. The other thing is although it's an individual sport, working within a team, understanding the dynamics between different roles and responsibilities that support an athlete. You'll hear a lot that a fantastic support network that you need to build to be a successful athlete. And I was so fortunate to be able to have many people in my corner. So there's a lot of synergies crossover between athletes and business.
Yeah. So roughly your professional career was in swimming was about 2005 through to 2013. What happened in 2013 that you decided to hang up the trunks?
The togs. Well, at that stage, I'd been professional for 10 years, so I'd actually contracted by Australian Swimming to be paid. I'd not made the rings like I touched on before, but I'd certainly reached some personal goals that I was satisfied with. To get an Australian spot was one that you knew you were top 2 countries in the world, and new challenges, life challenges started to play on my mind, to be honest. I did want to settle down, have a family, move on to a career outside of the water. And at the age that I was at, because of being a late bloomer, it was sort of time to make that switch. And also I was quite mentally fatigued as well. So, the timing was right. And so I jumped into the next chapter.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, what was that next chapter? What was to go into BF, or did you have some time, or what did that transition look like?
Yeah, no, it was actually, although the family business was Business and Franchise Alliance at the time, which had my old man as an owner as well as my brother, it was actually to go work for an opposition brokerage. So I wanted to cut my teeth in another organisation and see what they're about. Also, I wanted to leverage off my swimming and go and enjoy the sunshine on the Gold Coast. So I went and moved to Burleigh Heads. Burleigh Heads had a position to help me continue to race in the surf. So go back to my surf days, where I loved the belt swimming aspect, which was short and sharp like the 50 freestyle. And just really detrain, I suppose. Get a nice apartment, overlook the beach, swim every morning, whether it be in the salt water or the chlorine water, and just sort of get back to some form of normality with life. And through that time at Benchmark, worked on a speciality being the health and fitness industry. Just because I could go from one end of the pool to another didn't really mean much at all. But I'd certainly seen a lot of practical implications of businesses within that industry, and was interested on it, and I could speak to a lot of stuff on it. And so my specialty became obvious with the growth of a lot of the franchise systems as well. And so that just sort of came naturally, take that industry on. And for a year, I sort of focused and learnt that. But then, after about 12 months, I went to the director and said, look, I need to take a retirement present to myself. Took all the frequent flyers I'd earned and booked a round-the-world ticket. I jumped on a plane thinking I'd be there for 12 months. It ended up being 18 months around the world. The best investment you can make in yourself, I think, sometimes is travel.
Yeah.
Spurged on all the flights with the frequent flyer points. Did 50 countries, including Antarctica, so all 7 continents, and just saw the world. And so once I'd done that, I think I came back with a little bit more maturity and a little bit more readiness to jump into what I call the real world and into Victoria again at BF Brokers.
Okay, cool. So, mate, not everyone gets to have that life. that opportunity. What was probably the best thing that you took from, going from being so disciplined to, I guess, really just taking that time? Like, was that a mental clarity? What did you take from doing that?
Gratitude, probably. How fortunate we are to live in Australia, have the opportunities to go to university, to have people that can get around you and support you in different ways. It's not just financial, it's emotional, it's resources, things like that. So I suppose, that downtime between the pool and career as such, filled with a lot of sort of how fortunate we are. Again, where I travelled helped with some of that stuff. So I think that was really good for me.
Yeah, awesome. So, mate, you went into the family business. What year are we talking now?
I think we hit about 2013, 2014, give or take. Came into the family business that has taught me a lot as well, and helps me deal with a lot of clients on a monthly basis now that run their own family businesses.
Yep.
The dynamics in that are challenging. There's a lot of emotion, of course. And then different stakeholders have different inputs within the businesses that need to be considered when exiting. So it was really fortunate that between the three Prosser boys, the old man and the older brother, that we had different skill sets. Dad was an accountant. He loved his numbers. He really helped us start on the foundations of the importance of due diligence, and that we're in the business for a long time. So let's try to do as much forward DD as we possibly can to help buyers make an informed decision. My brother turned the business into a manila folder in filing cabinets kind of business to a database and a computer system, CRM. He was very business-minded, but then also leveraged off the finance side of things. There's no transaction without the money. So really stepped into that space. And then I sort of came in with a little bit more of the practical space where we knew we had a great service. We knew we were committed to service and integrity. And so we just needed people to know about that a little bit more. And that meant me getting out and attending events that you've obviously met me at, where we could actually be out there and speaking to people about what we do, because many business owners don't know that they can sell their business or don't think about it until it's too late.
Yeah.
So that I think you call it, pounding the pavement sort of situation was something that I really got out and did, because I think I also had a confidence with standing up in front of everyone in your dick togs. You're reasonably confident. You've got it all out there to see. So standing up, speaking, getting a service across to a particular industry is what I focused on first, and that just snowballed from there.
Yeah. And I suppose, mate, I guess, often you talk about people appearing in their underwear to settle their nerves. I guess done that. Nerves weren't required. There's no hiding up on the blocks. So, mate, obviously during that period, the business has evolved quite a lot. You relocated from Victoria up to Sydney. When did that happen?
Yeah, that was a COVID move, and it was a family-based move. Very fortunate to have some really supportive parents and parents-in-law. Obviously made the move from Melbourne to Canberra to train, then onto the Gold Coast for my early career for the year. And I'd headed back to Melbourne, met our beautiful wife, and our was being cooked up. So look, COVID hit. Obviously there was a shutdown. Transactions had stopped. I had a very, very fortunate vendor who came back to me after some months that wanted to grow BF Brokers and what we were doing in the health and fitness space. So I knew that the Victorian portfolio was in good with him, and that an organisation was really where we needed to be. Spoke to Kate. We went up for a 3-month period over the lockdown in Victoria. We found it where we could certainly, call home, and the rest is history. So, made that jump, moved the head office up there, and then built the team state by state from there.
Wonderful. So, mate, you've gone international.
Yeah.
How's that been?
Yeah. It's been tricky, mate. It's been tricky. Like everything, you want to be ahead of where you are. It was something that I think was really brought about by some of the brands that we work with heading internationally and in the service as well. But different, so many different things need to be accounted for that we've to just go slow with and check. So obviously, currency is one of them, and also its values, but also leases and legalities around them and things like that. So it's still very, very days. I'm just fortunate that they found a great team member that was also health and fitness related that put their hand up to join the team.
Yep.
And been doing a fantastic job to get that going for us. But there's different verticals of BF Brokers. We're not just health and fitness.
Yep.
Health and fitness is one, broader franchising, and a few of those others we also deal with. So although health and fitness is probably what you know me for, and probably watching the podcast would, but the international vertical is just another one that we're into to do a service.
Good. And mate, obviously you're looking healthy and well, but at different times, you've struggled with, I dare say, some sort of mental issues and going too far into it, what is it that you've kind of done to get that focus to turn it around to back to being, so healthy and well that I'm looking at? Is it stress, or is it, some guidance that you can give some people?
Yeah, mental health will touch a lot of people. It's becoming more and more spoken about, which I think is important. If you need help, put your hand up. For me, that cut from the reserve training and that physical exertion with the endorphins and things like that. The detraining is so critical. I think a lot of athletes struggle with that, and that they may go into to destructive behaviour. I think what I was able to do was to focus on the business and acquired it from brother and dad many years ago now, and was comforted in the fact that dad was retiring and my brother heading into finance. So I suppose I got to the business, to the journey that I saw, and energy and stuff into that. The other thing is just going back to really, really appreciative of life I get to live, and forgetting all the little wins that you've made on the journey. Sometimes we can get too caught up on that bad phone call or that missed deal or that mistake, and we all make them. Even if you follow a process and you do as much due diligence or whatever, you'll miss things. So that resilience and really plays a bit. But yeah, so for me, the mental health was to get back into shape and to do it in a way that I was comfortable, that was at my own pace and my own direction. But that is also the eating. I could put away two Big Mac meals or whatever. Like we all laugh about having the old the athlete appetite, but certainly put on a fair bit of weight, and then realised, hang on a second, I want to be an active dad. I want to be chasing my kids and puffing after it. I want to be here for as long as I can be. So that realisation, and then being able to say, no, this is more important than anything I can do at the office, and taking pride in that. So
yeah. So mate, you touched on Kate and the kids. So is involved in the business at all? She does her own thing?
No, certainly not. No, she is very accomplished in her own right. An amazing GP and mother. So no, she was part-time, and it's certainly my escape when I get home, mate.
Very good. Now, mate, I always ask for an international scoop. I'm trying to make this podcast bigger than Ben-Hur. What world-shattering news have you got for me that's going to catch our international audience?
Oh, geez. That's one on the spot.
He's given us nothing.
I've got nothing.
It's all confidential, commercial in confidence.
Yeah, sorry.
No, fair enough. So, mate, we've touched on a fair few areas. What have we not talked about that Cam Prosser would like to let the world know about?
just as a small business owner, sometimes you can feel you're alone. Sometimes you can feel that the weight's on your shoulders and no one will understand what you've been through. But it's important to know that's only a part of you. That put the food on the table. It may be the most important asset you have. It might not be the expensive asset. Your property might be more. But that's what's put your kids through school or given you the lifestyle that you're but yeah, you're as a business owner, it's your 100% identity. I think the big thing that we see with business owners looking to exit is that they are so connected with their business that a separation from that feels like they're losing themselves. And I'd question them on that. I would say, hey, no, this business is a tool, an asset that you're extremely well with, or you failed at, or indifferent. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it is something that you need to separate yourself from. You need to make sure that you do take pride in what you've done, good or bad, and life will go on. If you do sell or you do fail or succeed, it's not 100% you. It's not 100% you to do.
No, look, I mean, as a small business owner as well, and the reason that we're basically connected, I think, is due to the Rex roundtables. We're on that supplier roundtable, and I think that's a beneficial thing for business owners, is to interact with other business owners, because it can be such a lonely place. So, yeah, I think taking on the business isn't just your although we bend ourselves very strongly against our business identity, right?
Absolutely.
Mate, you obviously a lot of people, and I say help because I think, successfully selling a business is journey. How would you position what you do at BF as different to your competitors out there?
Probably just, I like to think integrity. We've got a number of clients that through our 30 plus years of being in business have transacted the business multiple times within our organisation, our services. And that has gone both ways. There's a higher resale price and a lower resale price, probably more often higher resale price. So that's good evidence to the fact. And just real. And I haven't tried to grow a big team and have 100 brokers out there. A small team that have, the best interests for the vendor at heart. That's what we're commercially and legally about and need to do, but also not missing the stakeholders within it. Obviously, our industry has a huge amount of franchise models. We've seen many, many ones and some very poor ones. So for us, also making sure that we're working with the stakeholders within those transactions.
Yeah.
Again, drawing back on integrity, a level of due diligence that want to show to the market, because once we transact, that is then a future vendor as well. And the fact that we've times shown it, repeat business on that we've got people in the right foundations as well. So I suppose that's what I pride myself on.
Yeah. So I suppose, one piece of advice that you could give people around preparing to sell a business, what would that be?
Yeah, look, get ahead of it. The old saying, the day you enter the business, think about your exit, all that sort of stuff. It just helps you mentally prepare yourself, however long that journey may be. So that always helps. And good advice, just speak to as many people as you possibly can. There's all these things you can do, accounting techniques and add backs and all these adjustments and multiples, all that stuff. That's fine. We can get to that. That can be managed. But I think personally, it would be just setting the business up on good foundations for that future exit where it may be. If you're doing it with a partner, making sure you have the right documentation around your agreements, making sure that you've got long tenure on your lease, all those simple, really simple things, they're crucial parts. So just if you think I'm going to enter this business, but I'm going to exit in X, you will have those other things set up and already looked at first before just jumping in there and heading straight to marketing or heading straight into or sales or whatever it might be. That would be my number one golden nugget. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they say that, the only ships that sink in business are partnerships. And, probably the advice I've given people is have a shareholders agreement with the partner right from word go, with the hope that you never have to read it, but you go through that process up front.
Absolutely.
Is there any other bits of advice beyond my words of wisdom that you would suggest sage?
Probably, further to that, mate, is those agreements, and agreements, right? So they are all stakeholders within your business, and leverage right can be absolutely fantastic. Done wrong can be a world of pain. You are legally entering into a black and white contract with these other stakeholders. So don't take that lightly. Don't be just sold on some flashy promotional material. Do your due diligence. Speak to as many franchisees as you can within the network, or speak to as many other landlords as you can. Whatever you can do to do thorough due diligence, make sure you do it, and lean on your broker to help you with that. What else would you ask? I would like to think that my team present opportunities to market. They don't do a hard sell. So make sure you speak to as many people, and those other contracts also scrutinise.
Mate, I love business. I feel like we've only touched on the surface of and I think as a business broker, it's your big passion. There's obviously got to be the due diligence and working with people. But is there anything else that you would sort of say to people? This is probably the big red flag you should be looking at, before entering a business.
I suppose the big one to me is what you will get out of the business, not just financially, but emotionally, and how that fits in with your quality of life and what you want to do. One of the questions we ask buyers and sellers is are you doing this? Why are you exiting now? Or, why are you looking to buy this business? Do you live within 30-minute radius and you can get there quick, or is this an investment vehicle or whatever? So I'll certainly be asking yourself why. And then what you're going to get out of it financially is that equal to what you can earn just as a job with less stress and things like that. So, really don't just make it as a financial decision. Make it as than that, and more of what quality of life this business can potentially provide you. I think that's another really important question that people miss. Why am I doing this? Is it to earn more money? Well, great, that's tick. At least you're honest and you've met. Or is it the old one where I just want to be part of a community and I know that I can get a lot of joy from all these members and part of their journey in their health, lifestyle, etc. So,
Yeah, mate, the one thing I'd say, and I guess this will sound like it's a bit of a plug for BF, but from the people I've spoken with who've dealt with you, it seems like you really work for both the buyer and the seller, which is kind of a rarity, because a lot of brokers typically work for the seller and they mind fucking over the buyers. Yeah. How have you gone about positioning that in the business? Is it about repeat business? Is it about, just being a good person?
I think it's about doing the right thing, but it doesn't.
So a moral compass.
Yeah, moral compass, mate. But it's not. Yeah, it's not always an easy thing, because you have a vendor that you're legally bound to act in their best interest that may be driving a certain multiple or a certain price position. And if I go back to, we're doing a lot of work right now to try to ask franchisors for their internal reports, which is a lot where the rubber meets the road on a lot of this due diligence. The other thing that I like about health and fitness, for example, is direct debit reports. These direct debit reports is where the money's hitting the bank, so it can't be fudged as old cash businesses used to be. Yeah. Look, I try to have across the team a balanced deal. I don't want to keep harping on stakeholders, but another one that hasn't been mentioned is financiers. So the banks or the lenders that have to have the deal pass the sniff test. Yeah. So you can do all this work and do a great sales strategy and technique and get a huge multiple, and then you come down to the crucial part about settlement, and the money's not there because it's a sold or it's on the wrong pretext.
Yeah, because typically funders will only lend to a certain valuation on the EBITDA, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, I'd like to try to foster that out so.
Very cool. Well, mate, obviously I'm personally a fan, but I haven't been fortunate enough to sell a business through you, but who knows how big
we'll tell you one first,
little in shape will go, but
no, you're doing a great job with the brand, mate. And I think that one day we'd love to put you on the books, mate, and get you a nice little exit so you can move on to your next chapter.
Who knows? Well, not talking about exiting at this stage. I'm right in the hunt. But Cam, I'd love to know what's next, but we hit that roadblock before. There's no world scoops here. But mate, is there any points that you'd like to touch on for the listeners?
I suppose the big one is just, we're all in the health and fitness industry. Don't lose sight of to make people's lives better through don't want to go too deep, mate, but
go deep.
Yeah, so
we're not making pornography. Go deep.
Yeah, so just don't. It could be just one member that you have in your club. It could be that's member that you gave an opportunity to. Don't lose sight of those little bits because busy world out there, people forget to slow down and take care of their health. So I suppose that would be my finishing off, mate.
Wonderful. Well, mate, as always, it's been a pleasure. I hope it wasn't too nerve-wracking. I don't think we covered off anything that was immoral or illegal. I feel like we've done another successful episode of Tailor Made Chaos. A little bit on the quiet side, which is unlike us, but I promised Cam I'd be on my best behaviour, and I hope I didn't let him down.
You're a good boy. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
You're
Cheers,
welcome.
mate. Done.